Marvel Studios, arguably the most successful movie production company working today. Ever since 2008, they've practically dominated the movie industry and have constantly put out box office hits like The Avengers, Iron Man, Spider-Man No Way Home, and Avengers Endgame. They've grown into a titan of the filmmaking world, and they show no signs of stopping. As shown by their latest television show, She-Hulk, Attorney at Law, Marvel Studios is constantly putting out new media every year with fresh ideas that are surely to be beloved by audiences everywhere.
Wow! Jesus, what the hell, man?
Still in control, no overwhelming feelings of rage.
No! A normal amount of rage!
You do revert back to Gen form when you sleep.
Was the air horn really necessary?
For comedy, absolutely.
Yeah, just kidding. A lot of people actually really hate this show. Let's talk about it. So, She-Hulk Season 1 has finally wrapped up, and everyone's got an opinion on it. Some positive, some negative. Okay, a lot of negative, but why exactly do people hate She-Hulk so much? The most common criticism I've seen is that the show is too dumb, and it hates on men, and it's not funny, and it's not true to the She-Hulk character. And if I'm being totally honest, you guys, a lot of these criticisms are total horseshit. She-Hulk is a great show, and I think it's a pretty good addition to the MCU. I can already hear everyone in the comments saying that I'm a Disney yes man or a Marvel fanboy or whatever creative insult you geniuses all over the internet can come up with today. Reading the comments is going to be so much fun for my self-esteem. Okay, so to be fair, as much as I like the show, I don't think it's perfect. As I said before, Marvel Studios has been in the game since 2008, or technically 2003 if you count that one Hulk movie that's kind of, sort of, but not really connected to the MCU because of the way that it ends and the way the Incredible Hulk begins, but the studio wasn't really around at the time. It's confusing, who cares? My point is, the studio's been around for a while. Not everything they put out is going to be the next Endgame. So it's only fair that I start the video off with my criticisms about the show. And then I can tell you why your criticisms are wrong. So let's get started. So the whole point of She-Hulk Attorney at Law is that it's supposed to be a fast-paced comedy. It's different from the usual Marvel formula because while Marvel films do have comedic elements, at the core of it all, you're supposed to take the story seriously, at least to some degree. What separates She-Hulk from that formula is that it's almost never serious at all, and is actually really the antithesis to Marvel movies the more you think about it. Marvel movies have sprinkled moments of comedy with an overall serious tone, whereas She-Hulk Attorney at Law has sprinkled serious moments with an overall comedic tone. For the most part, it works to the show's benefit, but I'd be lying if I said I had no problems with this idea at all. Sure, it sounds great on paper, but it's almost a give and take kind of situation. By putting the serious moments on the back burner, you lose any chance of building tension and/or room for character growth. These things are essential when connecting with the audience. We obviously know Jen's not going to die at any point in the show, but by making the show as comedic as it is, it kind of makes you question if she's ever going to go through any kind of hardship. And she definitely does go through hardships throughout the course of the show, but sometimes a joke is cracked immediately afterwards, and it kind of takes you away from the emotional impact of the moment. You need these moments so that the audience cares for Jen. What makes it worse is that sometimes the joke really isn't all that funny. Not because it's not well written, that's definitely in there, but for the most part it's because it's not well placed. As the phrase goes, there's a time and place for everything. Overall, the show just needs to find a better balance of when and where the jokes need to be placed. Also, the CGI, but we'll get into that in a bit. But other than that, I don't really have a whole lot of negative things to say about the show. Now, let's get to the fun part. She-Hulk Attorney at Law has gotten some pretty massive hate due to people believing that the show is anti-men. What's the reason behind this? Well, there's a lot of points in the show in which Jen makes light of problems that she and other women face, such as being afraid of going on jogs at night, walking to their cars alone, getting catcalled, and being victim to double standards. Jen also has to deal with her own personal problem, that being the possibility that the guys she dates only like her for her She-Hulk persona, as opposed to just Jen Walters. Now, I would take issue with this if it was inaccurate information, but it's not. These are real problems that real women have to deal with every day, and I commend Marvel for even attempting to tackle such a sensitive subject. I'm just gonna be honest with you guys, if this kind of subject makes you feel attacked, then maybe you should feel that way. Women being treated unfairly isn't a topic that should make you feel attacked. It's something that should bother you. You should be bothered that women are treated differently and are often targets of terrible men that want to do terrible things. I'm just saying the show tends to shit on terrible, horrible people, specifically misogynistic and entitled men. So if you feel called out, then we might have a problem. Personally, when I watch the show, I never once felt called out or attacked. You know why? Because I know they're not talking about me. The show's not trying to say that all men are creeps or they're dumb or that all men are rapists. It's just calling out the men who are like that. There's no logical reason to feel attacked when a show approaches a subject matter that doesn't apply to you. Long story short, if addressing a problem makes you feel attacked, you're probably part of that problem. So just something to keep in mind. One of the biggest criticisms I've seen of the show is that people are saying it's not accurate to the She-Hulk character. To the people who say that, I ask you this. What fucking She-Hulk comic have you been reading?
Watch your profanity.
I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like I've been a fan of She-Hulk from day one and I've read every single She-Hulk comic ever published, but from what I have read, it seems like the writers of the show have, at the very least, gotten Jen's personality down pretty good. I say the same thing about the overall tone of the show. Jen is a goofball. She's funny, she's self-reliant, and she's an overall likable character. But no, the show went too far because she twerks with Megan Thee Stallion. This one scene alone took the internet by storm. People loved it, people hated it, people didn't know what to think. A lot of people said that She-Hulk comics never took things to that level. Oh really? Need I remind you that there was a She-Hulk comic centered around She-Hulk jump roping? Naked! Yes, I'm totally serious. Look it up, The Sensational She-Hulk issue 40. And I'm not talking about just one scene. The whole entire comic is based around just this one premise. She-Hulk jump roping. Naked. And just like in the show, she calls out the scenario she finds herself in for its unbelievable absurdity. I don't want to hear about how She-Hulk is too goofy when this is a character who literally threatened to show up to the reader's house and rip up their X-Men comics if they didn't buy her books. I'm convinced that the people who don't have aggressively negative opinions just for the sake of trolling and actually have aggressively negative opinions about the show don't know what they really want. A lot of people hate She-Hulk because they say it tries too hard to be a comedy. In all reality, guys, if the show was anything other than what it already is, people would still find reasons to hate it. If She-Hulk Attorney at Law was similar in tone to something like, let's say, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, then people would say it's trying too hard to be serious. They'd say Marvel is one-noted, Marvel doesn't take risks, and Marvel's afraid to try something new. When, in actuality, for better or for worse, She-Hulk is, in not so many words, different. Not even the most lighthearted of MCU projects are as silly or as over-the-top as this show is. And that's the point. The writers had She-Hulk literally fuck Daredevil for no reason other than just to say she fucked Daredevil. And for those of you saying that Matt Murdock would never have sex with a tall, gorgeous, muscly woman with long black hair, first of all, shut up. Yes, he would. And secondly, don't pretend like you wouldn't want to either.
Yeah, boy.
Look, does She-Hulk always stick the landing with its jokes? Not necessarily. Is the show kinda dumb at times? Definitely. Is that what the story of She-Hulk is all about? 100%. Just like in the comics, the show is a deconstruction of Marvel media. The entire finale is dedicated just to talking about how formulaic Marvel films are. Hell, we know this because Jen tells us by breaking the fourth wall at other points in the show as well. Something she's been doing since even before Deadpool did it. The writers know it too. They even went as far as to make scary, accurate predictions as to what the audience was going to say about the show, within the show itself. And they were right. but at the end of the day, the show knows what it is and what it wants to be. Sure, it's a little rough around the edges and it could use a bit of tweaking, especially with some of the CGI. I mean, come on guys, I know that stuff's expensive and it can't be great every episode, but damn. Scar's hairline is running away from him faster than the incels running to my comments section to tell me what a Disney shill I am. Messy computer graphics aside, I can appreciate that She-Hulk fully embraces its quirky side, especially when other Marvel projects lacked focus and didn't know what they wanted to be. And all jokes aside, you guys, no one is telling you have to like this show. It's fine if She-Hulk isn't exactly your cup of tea. Sometimes Marvel doesn't always hit the bullseye dead on in terms of overall content. Personally, I think they did good, but there are people who don't like this show, so I guess its future remains to be seen. If there's a season 2, I'd definitely watch it. There's certainly more story to be told, and Tatiana Maslany absolutely kills it as Jen. All in all, She-Hulk is a good, harmless show, and I'm sure that with some maintenance and with some actual constructive criticism from the fanbase taken into account, it'll only get better and become an even bigger smash hit. Thank you guys for watching, and if you liked this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and leave me a comment letting me know what you thought. I'm sure you all are going to have nothing but nice, not offensive, not at all controversial things to say. And if you want to see more videos like this, then be sure to hit that subscribe button and click the notification bell to be notified every time I upload a new video. But other than that guys, thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.